Hey, what's up, guys? We're back for another episode of the Canadian MMA podcast where we fucking recap some Canadian fighters getting into fights. What's up, Josh?
Not much, man. Just we got quite a few fights from different organizations to talk about a whole Canadian event. So ready to get into it just before another one kicks off.
Yep, for sure. It's going to pick back up in late September, beginning of October for Canadian MMA. So we're pretty excited for that. Before we get going, I just got to tell you guys right now I'm at work. There's a movie shoot like close by in a town close by, but like some of the crew haven't came in yet to the hotel. So I know we're live right now, so it might not be the most like fluid podcast experience that you ever have because I might have to go welcome a guest at a point, but like I have no time to edit it. I have no time to post it on another day, so it's gonna be like that. Let's hope that they don't arrive while we're at it. So we're gonna get going right now and look at all these fights. There's like 10 of them about. So let's start right now with the last fight. We'll do it in order once again, like in order that it happened. And so Olivier Aubin-Mercier, PFL semifinals against Bruno Miranda. And to the surprise of everybody, he qualified for the finals once again. It was good. I don't think he did enough to win the first round of that fight, but I was a little bit worried, but not too worried because clearly I saw that Oli could beat this guy. I found that like maybe he wasn't doing quite enough. I was hoping that he picked the action up a little bit in the second round, and that's what he did. And he fucking took the guy down and absolutely blasted him with ground and pound for the finish, and he qualified for the finals. And then fucking Shane Burgos lost, and it was one of the best nights of the year by far. So I was pretty happy about that. Burgos is in the mud, and Oli is at the finals again, man.
Yeah, man. Ollie's just doing Ollie things. Like it was a pretty good performance. I thought he could have won round one. I think the leg, if I can remember correctly, the leg kicks had a pretty big effect on Miranda, just from the first round, and I was landing some good left hands from that southpaw stance. But once he got the grappling in, because Miranda was a Tiger Muay Thai fighter, so the grappling is going to be on the same level as Ali, who's been doing this forever, has that history in judo and going back to the finals again. But I'm looking forward to this matchup too, just because Clay Collard's going to bring it to Ali. But over 5 rounds, man, you know how good of leg kicks OAM has, and you saw what Clay Collard, what happened to him against Burgos and against the Japanese guy that he fought before that too. It's like every fight he gets, his leg gets so chewed up, and Ali's I think he's going to have a field day between that and the grappling. And Collard's just way too wild, doesn't set stuff up.
And he can't maintain his pace. Like he fights at a crazy ass pace, and for the 2 first rounds, it's like the funnest thing that you ever seen in your life. But then round number 3 is absolutely you can see that like he's feeling the effects of fighting like a madman for 2 rounds. So might be 2 crazy ass rounds to begin the fight for Ali, but he's able to manage that. The 3 other ones are going to be for the taking pretty easily, I believe. It's not as easy a fight as Stevie Ray last year, but it's still a very manageable fight for Ali. So pretty confident, and I hope we're going to enjoy this fight because got a big feeling that it's going to be his last, man. Even in the lead up to that fight, he was like, if I lose this fight and I don't go to the finals, then I'm just on vacation earlier, man. It's good. So like he's really like done with that shit, to be honest. I think he was doing that repeat only for the money. So I hope he gets it and fucking gets to do whatever the fuck he wants, man.
I'm not excited for these promos because I'm going to be getting real nervous hearing all the talk, all the shit that he says. It's just how he's so nonchalant and is so blatant about how he doesn't care. And I guess this one he's going to care a bit more because you want to finish it off and get the million now that you're here anyways. But he's just so at peace with retiring and leaving. You always hear people saying it's not good when a fighter's like that, but Ali should be able to get it done in this matchup.
Yeah, like he's way better than all these guys. And the funny thing is that when he was like really like focused to win, Like his approach was like the most boring fucking approach possible, like in these first PFL fights. And now this year he really like doesn't really care anymore, and he's fucking head kicking people and kneeing them in like other dimensions and fucking finishing everybody. So maybe he needs to not care, then he'll get another finish. I think that's the way that it goes. Then we got a fight. I don't know if you saw it. It's really not the end of the world if you didn't see it. It was that UAE Warriors 44, and we had a guy named Baergeng Jieleyisi, something like that. Very tough name to pronounce. Like fucking combinations of letters that make absolutely no sense in that name. He was fighting Xavier Alaoui. And the two first rounds, I don't want to say were like nothing rounds, but like very close fight where like both guys were doing their stuff, and like not one of the guys really was able to set himself apart from the other guy, except for the time where Xavier Alaoui just dropped him. And then in the third round, unfortunately, Xavier got taken down and got controlled for a lot of that round. So in my opinion, really came down to how you score round two. I can't really say that I was scoring this fight super seriously, so I won't come here and say that, oh, I think Xavier got robbed, or I think that's the right decision. I don't really know. I just know that Xavier dropped him once and then lost the third round, and it was a fight, man. It happened.
Yeah, I thought it was really close those first two rounds. If I could, I might be remembering wrong, but I thought that Xavier dropped him in the both of the first two rounds because, or at least hurt him really badly in the first one because it just felt like it was between all of the volume from his opponent or the big moment from Xavier to where he hurt his opponent really badly and looked like he could have maybe had him finished, or he had him in serious trouble at least in each of the rounds. So yeah, it was a really close fight, a really entertaining one at that as well. Tough for Xavier because he was on quite a bit of a run there, but yeah, he'll be back there putting on another entertaining fight after that for sure.
Yep. Now let's talk about one that I think there's some there's some talking that needs to be done about, and I'm gonna let you begin because I surely got some shit to say about that fight. Mateo Vogel, Timmy Cuamba, Twilight Timmy at the Contender Series, and yeah, man, what was your read about that whole thing?
Yeah, definitely a lot of backlash on the Canadian scene, and just from like the a lot of like, if you were just looking on the comments of social media too, people saying that it was a robbery, and I definitely thought that Mateo could have gotten the nod. It was a very close fight. It all becomes down to how you score that second round, and yeah, it was just like the straight shots of his opponent, Cunha, was it?
Cuamba, Twilight Timmy,
Cuamba.
man.
Yeah, Twilight Timmy, but it really felt like Mateo came on in the latter half of that round. He was getting the leg kicks, and the commentary was saying how they were having effect, and you could see it. But then, yeah, you got to that third round, and Mateo just dominated on the back. But it all comes down to that second round, man, because Timmy got the first round. He hurt Mateo in some moments, but Mateo invested with leg kicks and invested with some shots. But yeah, you really just started to see it halfway through that second round. Maybe 3 minutes in, Mateo he just wouldn't go away. He was in his face no matter what. Timmy was just trying to circle off, land the 1-2s and pick him off. Mateo wouldn't go away, and eventually got the takedown in the third. And you saw what he was trying to, like, what could happen with his grappling. But yeah, give it 5-rounder, Mateo easy. But it was a close one.
Yeah. No, I definitely thought Mateo did enough to win, to be honest. The thing is, bro, this like another fight that you can add to the fucking like Sean O'Malley, Peter Yan category of fights, where like every fucking sensible human that looks at this fight is like, yeah, I think this guy won, but somehow the other guy wins. And it's kind of all because of the same thing, in my opinion. And that's just the new scoring criteria. That's because of that. Because, like, what I'm saying, I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just saying that's the way that it is. If you you get into an exchange with your opponent and you land 3-4 strikes on him, but he counters you real hard and his shot looks like it's the most impactful shot that was landed during that exchange, he's gonna win the exchange on the judges' scorecard, because damage is paramount. Damage over control, damage over takedowns, damage over volume, damage over everything. So Mateo got in there and outstruck his opponent crazy, but he got tagged clean here and there into these combinations when he was like going forward. His opponent did quite a good job of being able to tag him very cleanly in these exchanges, and that's just how they scored the fight, man. They gave it to damage, which is just like the shots that look to be the most impactful, even though I think everybody agrees that the most damage that was done in that fight was Mateo's leg kicks. But Mateo's leg kick is like cumulative damage, like volume, and it accumulates and then it becomes impactful. Contrary to Cuamba, who was landing like one single shot, and like in the first round, he kicked him in the head, super flush. And Mateo basically turned his back to the action for a moment. So like these visuals look good for the judges, and it's just the new scoring criteria that I think is fucked. To be honest, I don't like it at all. I don't know why takedowns don't count like they don't anymore. I don't know why volume strikers get fucking like robbed all the time in decisions, because yes, they outstrike their opponents, but like yes, they get tagged cleanly. So the other guy says, oh yeah, so maybe one guy landed twice more than the other, but we feel like the other did more damage, even though it's absolutely subjective. Like a shot can look like it does damage because the guy has to back up or whatever, but is it doing more damage than all the leg kicks that Mateo was landing? I don't think so. So basically, I don't think he won the first round. The first round, he got tagged like very cleanly in the 2 first minutes. And I'm not gonna lie, at the end of the round, I was like, Mateo did some very good work. And like, I'm really hesitant about, should I give him that round? Like, did he do enough to steal that round in the end? But I still gave the round to Cuamba. Second round I gave to Mateo, even though it was a close-ass round, and probably the round where Mateo was the less active and the less effective in that fight, but so was his opponent. So I gave that round to Mateo, and the third round is the only clear round of the fight. The other thing that I'm going to point out just quickly is that when you got a 3-round fight like that and there's a super clear round for a guy and he ends up losing the fight, there's always going to be some controversy. Because
especially when it's the last round.
Exactly, and that's the thing. And Mateo ended all the rounds very good. So all the end of the rounds were for Mateo. So all the end of the rounds that were fresh in the head of the people were in Mateo's favor. So they were kind of baffled when they heard the decision. But honestly, knowing the scoring criteria and knowing how it works, like when I heard unanimous decision 29-28, I was expecting Timmy to get his end raised in that fight, to be honest, at the end. I thought Mateo did enough. I scored it for him. But yeah, because of the new scoring criteria, I thought that Timmy was going to win, and that's what happened, and it sucks. But like, if there's one fighter that I'm not super like worried for, it's Mateo. Like, the guy is 8-3 now. He's got 11 fights in his life. Never had an amateur fight before that. So like, we've seen some of the guys go on the contenders like Alex Morgan and these guys that when they lose, you're like, ugh, I think that was kind of his opportunity, and I don't know if it's going to come back around. Like, Mateo's going to be on the contender next year, bro. You just know it. It's going to be like that. He's still young. He's got 11 fights in his whole life. He's still developing. He's got a great team. He's a good fighter. He's still one of my favorites. So I'm super not worried for him. Maybe even less worried that he is, because he looks like he's pretty fucking salty about it, to be honest. Like the video that he posted in the gym, like running after his training partner, bro. I used that video to put some salt on my French fries, man. It was that salty. But like, he's got the right to. He kind of got screwed, in my opinion. And like I said, I won't even say it's on the judges, bro. It's on the new scoring criteria. It sucks, man. It sucks ass. And he got screwed by that, and it sucks. But he's gonna be back, man. I'm not worried at all.
Yeah, it's brutal. Like whole world, like the majority of the world thought he should have won that fight. All the optics looked like he was the winner, but didn't get it. But yeah, like you said, he's only 27 years old, and if Maxime Soucy can get by, I think his name Nelly Burgos at Samurai, there's a pretty fun fight waiting back at BFL for him there.
Yep. I don't even know if Mateo is still under contract with BFL, but I hope they do that fight, man. And I know Max wants that fight too, so
A lot of
I
really
like
good
that.
145ers in Canada, regardless.
Yeah,
Every single promotion seems like they've got one or two that would be a really fun fight.
absolutely, man. Let's then move on to Series City against Ramon Taveras. And that was an horrible stoppage, but I don't care at all, man. Fucking Siri did all that he had to do. And he got the first round KO and he signed with the UFC. And like I've been one of the guys hyping Siri up since day one. I absolutely love this guy. He's an amazing fighter. He's a cool guy too. And like he was one of the names that you just knew that he was going to be in the UFC sooner rather than later. And it's going to be sooner, man. So I'm pretty happy about that. Super performance, honestly. Like, yes, it was a horrible stoppage for sure, but you probably would have finished the guy like 30 seconds later anyway. And like I said, there's nothing Siri can do about that. It's on the referee, and Dana recognized that, gave him his contract. Super happy.
Yeah, man. Nothing, no fault of Siri about that stoppage. He did everything he was supposed to do. He came in and got the first round knockout. It was a super nice shot that landed there and dropped him. And yeah, couldn't ask for much else from him. But there's a lot of really fun matchups in that bantamweight division as well that I'm excited to see. Lots of strikers, and he's a big guy for the division too. I'm super stoked. There's rumors of the UFC card coming to Toronto in January or February potentially. So that would be an amazing debut spot for Siri. But just super happy for him. He's a super nice guy. It was sweet to get him to see him fight at BFL a few times and over at BTC, and super well deserved. So congrats to Siri.
Yep. Then let's move on to Unified 52 was taking place in Calgary on September 8th, and it was a great event generally. Lots of Champions Creed guy fighting on that event. There was a pro fight on the prelims, which I haven't saw yet, but Cal Kostiniuk, pro debut, knocked out Ali Charkie in the second round, at the very end of the second round. So I can't wait to see that fight, to be honest. It's a big pro debut to come in and beat Ali Charkie like that. So pretty hyped for that and to see what's next for Cal. But then into the fights that we saw, Nick Leblanc just absolutely beat the fuck out of Diego Santos. Like he was pissed about him missing weight. And yeah, he beat the brakes off of him, and Diego couldn't basically go back to fight for round two. So the fight was stopped. Nick Leblanc is super fucking dangerous. And yeah, he's gonna be a menace for sure. He's gonna be a menace for sure in that division. And I think there's some people coming in right now, so I'm gonna let you talk about this, and you can talk about Mac Laursen and Ramil, and I'll give my 2 cents when I come back. It's not gonna be long.
Sounds good, man. So, yeah, we had Nick LeBlanc taking on Santos. It was a great performance by Nick LeBlanc, as Faber said. He was able to sort of just piece up Santos, as we saw John Nguyen do as well in the fight, his fight before. But shout out to Nick LeBlanc. I believe he's now 4-0. He was calling for a fight with the winner of the title fight. So hopefully he can get that, because I know John Nguyen versus Nick LeBlanc would be a fight that a lot of people, including myself, would want to see. But yeah, props to Santos for coming in and bringing the fight again. Didn't go his way. hopefully we can see him fight in Canada again because he's a super game fighter. He always brings it. But yeah, I think it was a hand injury because he took that glove off pretty quick, and there's a lot of blood coming down from there. So maybe a cut, but you never want to see that. So yeah, moving on to the next fight, we got Mac Laursen taking on Chris Chapman. Chapman coming back from a pretty bad injury, but he's able to make weight, look good on the scale as well. Taking on a tough 4-1 Mac Laursen at the time. He was able to get the first round rear naked choke. He looked really good in that spot. He's able to land great shots on the feet and sort of pick apart Chapman, but a little bit of controversy with elbows to the back of the head. I know the fans were booing a lot, especially when the decision was read out, but I don't want that to overshine Mac Laursen's amazing performance against a super game Chris Chapman, who always brings the fight out there. But he was able to get the rear naked choke. Hurt him with those elbows, and then got on the back from there. Latched it up pretty tight. So yeah, 5-1 now. One was at 170. Just looking at the weights, yeah, every fight's been at 170 for him, I believe. So that's another good welterweight. He's built his record up pretty well now as well. So yeah, looking forward to seeing what's next for Mac Laursen. You can talk about that one now.
Yeah, Mac, very good fighter, man. I love Mac Laursen. More Mac Laursen, please. He's on a roll now. Yeah, he's on a roll now, and Chris Chapman is very good. Like, a very good fighter. He's been around for a while. He's got a good record, beat some good guys, and Mac didn't care at all, huh? Just fucking choked him out in 3 minutes like it was easy. So I guess, like, all these guys, like Mac, Nick, Ramil, they all need to step up, man. They need to, like, fight some top guys in Canada or some top guys from outside. Like, I know Unified, they're pretty good to bring in these good, like, American guys that can contend for belts or whatever. I think these guys are there now. They're getting to 5-1. Ramil, I think, he's 7-0 now. Like, they're getting to a level where they need to fight these top talents. And even for Ramil, he fought Roberto Pixley, very good fighter. Roberto just won a fight at Fight League Atlantic. He's one of, like, the better Mexican fighters that is on the Canadian circuit right now. And Ramil, I think he even cared less than Mac Laursen, man, to be honest. I fucking love Ramil, man. This guy's, like, super entertaining, like, and some people are not gonna like the takedown heavy style and everything. I absolutely love it, man. It's perfect for me.
Yeah, and he's coming out of his shell a bit now with the post-fight interviews and everything too. Just really, he's being himself out on the microphone, so that was awesome. But just talking about Mac Laursen for a second, like, I know that Unified's got, they had Scott Hudson. That would be a fun matchup. Who are some other? You got any welterweights off the top of your mind?
Who they got? Like, I don't think he's fighting like Ryan Ford or a guy like that. I think Ryan's probably retiring.
What do you think about Ergies?
Oh, I like that.
6-0 versus 5-1.
I like that. Yeah, that could be the title fight, man. Scott is better for, like, let's say 165. He can do 55, but he's like a big ass 55. I don't know why he would try to do that if it's like not for the UFC or something like that. So yeah, 65. You leave Scott Hudson there, and you do Ergis and Mac Laursen. That's perfect.
Even Pat Piletic.
Yeah, Pitlick. Isn't Pitlick fighting for the belt in Ottawa?
Oh, yeah. Shoot, he is. My bad, bro. I'm just looking at Tapology. Stuff.
Yeah, so no, but you do Pitlick, and you either do Mac, Ergis, and the winner fights the winner of Pitlick against, I don't know who he's fighting. But yeah. All these fights, please.
Doing Sonny's job for him over here.
Then yeah, Ramil, I kind of spoke about it. Fucked up the guy. Absolutely. He's great. Ramil, I think he needs to it's more of a 55er. I guess he wouldn't really fight. Would he fight Shane Campbell? Wouldn't that be dumb a bit, or would that be fun?
I don't know if
or both.
he's talking about he needs to step up. He needs one more fight to get to the UFC because he knows the last one won't get him there. So that Shane Campbell one would be a huge, huge matchup. But I think he's got his eyes on Tom O'Connor right now, who we'll get into in the next one. And both guys sort of can make 55, but floating above, and uh, that's it. I like that one. What do you think about?
I think I do too. Because I love Tom O'Connor. Maybe not like the most entertaining fighter on the Canadian circuit. Like super effective though. Like he gets to his game plans, he executes it perfectly, and he's even able to finish some guys like later on in the fights and everything, like he did to Tim Smith. So yeah, I think that's probably a little more reasonable and a very good step up. Like if you beat Tom O'Connor with like 12-2, if you beat him at 7-0, yeah, that's probably your ticket. Shane Campbell is too, but Shane Campbell, bro, is a crazy fight. Like if you want to take the craziest risk, fight Shane Campbell. That's for sure. If you want to, I don't want to say like, oh, Tom O'Connor is way more manageable because the guy's gonna try to wrestle you and he's gonna try to like if you lose to Shane Campbell, you might lose in a fun ass fight, and people are still like, "Oh yeah, that was cool." Like if you lose to Tom O'Connor, you're probably gonna get controlled a lot and submitted, or like staying on the ground, getting hit and everything. So, no, I think the Tom O'Connor fight is pretty good, and I think Tom. It's just I like for Ramil, of course, you look at that fight and you're like, yeah, that's the one. If you're Tom O'Connor, do you really want to fight Ramil Kamilov right now? Like the guy's an up and comer, he's 7-0. I think if you're Tom O'Connor, you want to fucking fight Shane Campbell or somebody like that, because Tom O'Connor too is one fight away from going to the UFC. So sometimes when there's guys that are like both at kind of the same place, it's tough to make them fight each other. I hope they do. I really hope, but let's see what happens. Basically,
Yeah, man, it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world if they, I don't know, could both find their way on Contender Series.
yeah. No, the more Canadians we get at the bigger level, the happier I am. But I'm also the guy always advocating for local matchups. So I'd absolutely prefer seeing these two guys fighting, and one of them maybe like having a setback and building himself back up, than seeing these two guys, let's say, fight like Mexicans or American fighters, and then both. Like as a fan, I'd prefer to see them fight, but as a fan, I'd also like to see them both go to the UFC. So
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. But yeah, so just to talk about Ramil a little bit more, landed a couple good leg kicks to start it off. And yeah, got the takedown against the cage. And from there, it was just like a hot knife through butter. It's pretty easy, but until he got the submission late in the round with like 10 seconds left or something. So yeah, impressive. He did what he was supposed to do, took the path of least resistance as well, because you know Roberto Pixley's a game-ass fighter. He always comes to throw down, and he got in a, like that last fight we saw it, but yeah, Ramil got the job done, 7-0 now. I think 6 finishes, 5 in the first round, so yeah, man, he's looking good.
is your cat fucking up shit, or is this ghosts?
It's the cat, man. I do not know what's going on.
I thought maybe your house became haunted back again, and there were ghosts fucking shit up in the background.
No,
That'd be,
there, that too.
that'd be pretty crazy. But yeah, so yeah, Tom O'Connor absolutely dominated Tim Smith. I don't know if you had stuff to say about that, but yeah, Toro domination, and kind of impressive because like O'Connor at his core is a 45er. Like that's his optimal weight class. I know he's been fighting at 55 a lot because he's good enough to do that. And that fight was at 65, I believe. But Tim Smith is another 55er. But Tim Smith is a bigger guy than Tom O'Connor. He's got way more experience. Yes, he's got the wear and tear that maybe O'Connor doesn't have yet. But that's a huge win. Tim Smith, considering that Tim Smith was on a streak, was winning some fights against some good opponents lately, to see Tom O'Connor just do him like that, it was pretty impressive. You're muted.
my bad. It was super impressive by Tom O'Connor, the big nasty. The one kind of knack on him sometimes in his wins is that he starts out slow and can take some damage at the start, but right off the bat in this one, he was able to get the takedown and just implement the game plan from the get-go. So, took out Tim Shady Smith, the vet. Shout out to Timmy. He fought for as long as he could and tried to get out of there, but Tom had him in some bad positions and was able to just get him with the accumulated strikes from on top. So, yeah, did what he had to do. Another one of his sort of like grueling performances, just really takes it all out of his opponent and puts them through like, puts them through the gauntlet really in these fights, because he puts them in bad positions, man, for long periods of time. And yeah, shout out to Tom O'Connor.
Absolutely, man. And in the main event, probably one of the craziest performances of the year, like on the Canadian scene. John Nguyen against Majed Hammo. And like, you had to think going into that fight that, yeah, John Nguyen was probably going to hit Majed super hard, super early in that fight. But that's kind of what happens in every Majed fight. And then he just like hangs on to you somehow and drags you down and submits you. And we've seen John Nguyen maybe like not having trouble with the grappling, but like maybe not liking as much grappling as striking. Like he lost it to some good grapplers, O'Connor, Mike McAloo, some guys that are really grappling centric. So I was like, yeah, he's gonna tag Majed, but Majed is like unknockable basically, and he never let him. Do anything. He never gave him a chance, and he knocked him out, and it was amazing because we never basically see that. And like super, like you talk about a leveling up performance. Like John Nguyen was a 5-3 guy that was like, yeah, he's a good featherweight in Canada, but didn't really think about John Nguyen like the next big Canadian champion or whatever. And then he comes in against Majed, who's like maybe the third or fourth best featherweight in the country, and just absolutely fucks him up, man, and wins the belt. And like I said, I'm super impressed by the fact that that's what Majed does to everybody. But then John Nguyen never gave him a chance. I'll be back.
Yeah, that was a super impressive from John Nguyen. Came in as the betting underdog. I believe he was the only underdog on the unified card that won, but came in, shocked the crowd. It was a tremendous performance, best one of his career by far, I would say. Hurt Majed Hammo with a lot of shots. Multiple instances had him stumbled, dropped him a few times, and let him back up. Didn't play around on the ground. Even when Majed was hurt, though, he tried his weird stuff. Some weird ass. I don't even know the names, so I'm not going to try to say them. But some weird ass trips and just diving around. But Nguyen didn't play that game. He just stayed composed and was able to pick him off with some nasty straights. Like sat down on his jabs really nicely and hurt him with them. And got the knockout at the end of the first round, 4 minutes and 27 seconds in. The referee saved Hammo because he's super tough. He's not going to go anywhere. But like Faber said, it was like a leveling up performance from him. And now he's the new featherweight champion at Unified MMA. I think Majed had that belt for quite a bit of time. So, some next potential matchups. Tom O'Connor's he's a natural 45er, so I wouldn't be surprised with him seeing this and seeing with a win over John Nguyen already. He might try to make that cut again. It would be tough for him, but try to get that featherweight belt and then chase the lightweight belt even as well against Ramil. Two belt status, and you'd be in the UFC for sure. But besides that, man, I don't know. They've got quite a few wrestlers, so it's not this type of matchups that you'd want to see him against because he's such a fun striker to watch. But it's a great performance by John Nguyen, and I'm just finished talking about it.
Yeah. Okay, Jamie Mullarkey, John McDessie had a fight, and I'm
Oh,
gonna be
wait.
very, very honest with you. Yeah, let's go.
What you think about Tom O'Connor seeing John Nguyen get the belt, and then maybe he thinks that he might want to take that belt because he's already got a win over him and try to make that cut again?
I'd suggest you try that.
Would make
That
sense
could,
for him. Then 13
yeah,
and 3, and you have a belt on the regional scene. It's like, yeah,
yeah. And a unified belt is a good belt, like a BFL, a samurai belt. It's like not any random regional promotion belt where you're fighting like a. Oh, I was about to throw a shot, but I'm just shut up.
I think I know what you're gonna say.
Yeah, so I was about to say that John McDessie and Jamie Mullarkey had a fight, and I'm gonna be super honest with you. I did not care about this card. I did not care about these prelims, and I just bought a brand new PS5, and I was playing Madden, and it was playing there, so I was listening to the sound and looking like here and there, and yeah, on my opinion of the guy who didn't really watch the fight, I thought John McDessie kind of won.
Yeah, I thought he did too, man. I watched it, and it was pretty crazy. Like, I believe Mullarkey won the first round, kind of handedly. He was able to piece him up, and then, like, right at the end of the second round, I believe, with like 15 seconds left, he caught him, dropped him pretty bad. Mullarkey was hurt going back to his corner. So you'd think that the judges would sway to give that to him because it was pretty close before that. They were kind of going tit for tat, some nice leg kicks here and there, but Australian judges are going to be Australian judges. And third round again, I believe he hurt him with the jab, hurt him with some other shots. Mullarkey just wasn't landing anything that really hurt McDessie, and I don't know what he's made of because dude's had like 5 surgeries in the last 2 years, and he's still showing up to these fights, going the distance with these young guys, and fucking having close fights as well. Like Bahamondes, man, do tell me that wasn't a crazy performance. Like, and this one as well, I believe he should have got the win. Was able to hurt McDessie last 2 rounds and do more damage, but hey, it's in Australia.
Why does nobody care about John McDessie?
It's crazy, man. It's
Kind of sucks, man. He's like, in my opinion, he's probably like top 10 best Canadian fighters of all time. He's been in the UFC forever. He's always fighting like monsters. And if he's not like winning, it's super close fights that you say, oh, he could have won that fight. And fucking nobody cares, man.
and he's got
Pains
like
me to.
third most like significant strikes in lightweight, I believe. Like, I don't know why he just flies under the radar like this. Like, it's not even like he's one of these guys that like is a Canadian that trains outside of Canada now or something. Or
Yeah, and he's like a small ass lightweight too, so it's always funny to look at his fights because the smallest range striker with no reach that you're ever gonna see, and he's good at it and he wins fights. And like I don't know why people overlook John McDessie. Before we go, we got a question. Is OAM the best Canadian fighter right now, or is Christian Lee still on top? To be honest, it's always going to be Ali because I was never like that high on Christian Lee. And the one fighters generally, like the Muay Thai guys and everything, they're amazing. Like they're the best in the world. But the MMA guys in one, like honestly, I think OAM beats Christian Lee. I think Shane Campbell probably does, and maybe even Jesse Ronson, since he looks so young right now. I think he could defeat Christian Lee in a fight if he had the opportunity. So it's by far Ali for me.
yeah, what's up? Thanks for tuning in, man. And Ali for sure, man. It's been Ali for a while for me. I think he's just been doing this thing in PFL, racking off these wins like 4 a year, knock on wood. But yeah, hopefully you can get it done again to be a multi-million-dollar champion over there and ride off into the sunset doing his thing,
Yep,
whatever the hell that
absolutely.
is.
Whatever the hell that is. He wants to become like a barista or something like that. That would be like you go into a random super hipster Montreal coffee shop and you got Oli with his fucking glasses. Like, hey, what can I get you today? He's fucking doing lattes and shit.
Yeah,
He-
happy for him, man.
He's just the best. Hey, thanks guys for tuning in. We'll be back for like the recap of Samurais. There's like fucking 3 Canadians fighting this week in the UFC Mexico Independence Day fight night. And then I don't know about your schedule or whatever. We'll talk about that off air. But the week after, there's like Jourdain and Mick Duval. So maybe we could do the episode just after that and like recap all these fights: Samurai, the UFC fights, Jourdain and Duval and everything. So thanks guys for tuning in. That's it for today.